What happened when you got back with your baby?
When I got back, they still expect me to do everything. Which they say that you're supposed to like recover at least 3 months after you have a baby, but not me. I was up, like I stayed up there for a month, but the month I was there, I was still up. Like after the first week after I had my baby, I was up doing regular chores again.
At the hospital, or when you got home? Okay. Now, so, but did they come to you and take your baby? Explain what happened to between you and your child.
Well, when my baby was 3 months old, she was sick, and I had her in the bedroom with me, and she was crying. And when I looked, had her sisters in the bedroom with me, and she takes the baby from me and says that I pinched the baby, that I'm just not a fit mother for the baby. And they take her from me and say that I cannot touch her again.
You have been here now for, let's see, 6, 7, 8 months. You're home with your baby. They take your baby from you. And for the next, what, 2 years? Who was raising your child?
Hader's mother was.
And if the baby came to you because that baby obviously had a feeling something weird with that lady over there, right? So by the time your daughter started walking, if she would come to you, if she came to you, what happened?
She'd start walking around, and I was sitting there one day, and she came to me, and they said, well, get away from her. And the baby didn't listen, and they took her and they beat her. They whipped her.
And so each time your baby attempted to make contact with you, they would whip her? So it got to the point that you started doing
I stayed away from her.
From your own child?
I stayed away from her for about 2 years. But while I was living in the house, she'd try to come towards me, and I'd just leave out that room, or I'd go outside in the backyard or something like that.
Some people started some construction beside your house, did they not?
Yeah, there was this family that was working behind where I was staying at, and something just said, write them a letter. So I did. I wrote them a letter. I told them where I was from. I told them everything I had been through, and I asked them to help me.
And you wrote this letter and just threw it over your wall?
I just threw it over there, and the next day they responded me. They sent me a letter too. And we were sending letters to each other for about a month. And
the letters would say what? You told them the story. What did they say to you?
They said they could help me if I got out of there.
But you had to get out of there. And we should say that the house that you lived in had a wall fence around it, a wall built around it.
Yeah.
So you couldn't even see over the wall, correct?
No.
So you had to get out, and they were not willing to come in there and try to get you out, so you had to get out of there. So one night you decided to make a break, did you not?
Yeah, they always had the door locked. I didn't have a key to it. So there was no way for me to just walk out the front door. And so somebody left the key inside the door. And Hector's parents weren't there. They were on vacation, on his brothers and sisters. And I left out the front door, and I went running as fast as I could to their house. So I was living with the family for about 7 days when I got an unexpected visit.
From?
Hector and his father. They jumped the wall where I was staying at, and they had guns, and they kidnapped me for the second time at gunpoint.
Took you back over the wall. What kind of beating did you suffer from that?
He did not beat me, but he took me to this, it was like mountains, and he put me on the top of this high mountain, made me climb up it, and put me on top of it and said he was going to throw me off of it.
If you ever tried to do that again?
Yeah.
So you're back, you're saying, but at this point in time, now you just turned what, 15?
No, I believe I was 14.
14. And I would suggest that at age 14, by that whole year, that period of time, you were bent on getting out of this place. Like just because your maturity level had changed enough. So now you're starting to scheme. And they took you back. You knew that if they caught you the next time, what was going to happen?
Well, the other family had filed a police report on him and said if I didn't drop the charge, he said if I didn't drop the charges that he was going to hurt me or he was going to kill me. So I went back and dropped all charges against him. And I was staying with him for, I believe, another couple of days. And Hector and his father went on a trip. And I was they had like this bedroom on the outside of the house. So I said, I'm gonna go clean this bedroom up while everybody's gone, while Hector and his father's gone. And they said, well, okay. So I left out the door and I just kept on running. I ain't never stopped.
And where did you run?
I went back to the family that had helped me the first time.
And this time, they put a plan in motion, correct?
Yes, sir.
We'll come back. I want you to talk to us about how you and your daughter got out. Take a break. We'll be back right after this.
I told him that for him to stay away from my home, stay away from my daughter, not even as much as ever talk to her again, because if I found out that he as much as spoke to her again, then I would put the law on him. When I got in the detective's office, he explained to me, he said, Wanda, there's a girl in Mexico at the embassy in Mexico that's claiming to be Dana.
Let Bob Crumley help you.
So you take off running and running as hard as you can. Stop at the other family's house, but you had to be thinking, what about my baby?
Yeah, I was, but at that point in time, I couldn't do nothing because she didn't sleep with me. I mean, she was just isolated from me, still. And so I said, well, I'll just have to leave without her. And once I got to the other family's house, they said, we're going to take you to our home. They were just there for work. They didn't stay there. So their house was like 9 hours away on a bus trip. I got on the bus the next morning about 3 o'clock, and I went to their home. That was 9 hours away.
How long did you stay there before you realized you just couldn't leave without your daughter?
Well, I wasn't there. The same day, I was ready to get her back, but I didn't know nothing that I could do. I could just go there and take her. They'd grab me too. So I was there for about a year when the family helped pay for a lawyer.
This is the other family. During that year while you were with this other family, did you call home and call your mom?
I tried to, but they had changed their phone number.
And unbeknownst to you, what was going on back in the States is that your mom was out looking for you, but she was getting all these fake phone calls and harassing phone calls and ended up having to change her phone.
Yeah.
Okay, now but let's go back and tell me how you got your child out.
Okay, I contacted the lawyer, and he said, well, that's going to be easy to do because she doesn't belong there. She's yours fully. And he went back, and he filed all the paperwork for me. And when he did all that, they put her in a foster care home, took her away from Hector's family, put her in a foster care home until I was able to go pick her up. I had to go back to the same town to pick her up.
The 9-hour bus ride back, come all the way back. You got her, and then how did you get out of Mexico?
I went to the consulate and told them who I was, gave them my name.
And they initially said, what makes us think that you really are Miss Dana so-and-so?
Yeah, because I didn't have no paperwork, nothing.
And unbeknownst to you, that's what brings us to the next part of the story. So please welcome Dana's mom, Wanda, to the show. Hi, Wanda. Wanda, at this point in time, it's been 4 years.
That's right.
I should back way up and ask you from the beginning. You knew about Hector and your daughter's relationship. Not relationship, but you knew something was weird going on there, right?
Right.
You didn't know they were having a relationship.
No, I didn't.
But you told Hector, what did you say to Hector? Tell us.
I told him that for him to stay away from my home, stay away from my daughter, not even as much as ever talk to her again, because if I found out that he as much as spoke to her again, then I would put the law on him. And if the law wouldn't do nothing, then I would kill him.
So I think that's pretty clear to me. All right, so, and still at this point in time, you did that only because you kind of saw the way he looked at her, the way he was talking to her?
Right.
So you knew something was a little off.
I knew something was wrong.
She went to school, normal day.
Right.
But she didn't come home.
When she didn't come home, I thought maybe her bus had broke down, and I waited until 5 o'clock that afternoon. I knew if her bus had broke down by 5 o'clock, they are supposed